Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
Right, good evening everyone. Welcome to episode 517 of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. And as you can see, I am not the esteemed dean, but I'm getting the privilege of standing behind the big podium today, along with one of the voices of Southwestern Athletic Conference baseball, Mr. Charles Bishop. Welcome again. The show that covers the HBCU sporting diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletics programs and the business of HBCU sports. So again, I am not Dr. Cavil, but got Charles Bishop in with me, and we are filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to our KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Fame, Ralph Cooper, in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency, LLC. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. Today's going to be a great show. How you doing today, Mr. Charles?
Doing well, Brandon. Doing well. Stopping in here on a Thursday. I appreciate you inviting me on. So I definitely wanted to come in and lend an ear to see what's going on in the HBCU news and notes and sports and generally, you know, what have we to talk about today on this Thursday, on this June 13th, as we speed towards the various media days, if you will.
Yes. And you know, it's funny you mentioned that, because media days, as you just mentioned, they're coming up. I did see they're starting to announce, and I know the SIAC announced when theirs is, as did the MEAC. And I wanted to ask you, because like I said, you have more experience in the arena than I have, because I have not attended many media days. I've attended one. I have not yet to attend the SIAC, but from the videos I saw and the pictures from the one last year, it looked like it was a real A+ first class presentation all the way. So have you been to the SIAC Media Day? I know you've been to the SWAC one, but if so, how was your experience, and how would you describe it?
Yeah, I think the experience is great for both of them. I've been to the SIAC Media Day, but you know, it's your first opportunity to kind of meet the new year, if you will, in terms of coaches bringing their student athletes in, and you get an opportunity to kind of sit down and kind of get a lay of the land in terms of what the upcoming season will be like for the various teams, and you do start hedging a little bit, if you will. And you know, there's a swagger certain coaches have. There's a confidence, an air about them. Those teams, especially that are picked to finish in the upper tier, they have a different walk about themselves. So it's definitely an opportunity to get and sort of pull the curtain back a little bit on the upcoming season.
Yeah, I think like I said, when you come to media days, there's always that air of kind of excitement, hope, answering, potential expectations, because everybody, like I said, at that point they're 0-0, and everybody thinks that they're ready to win that conference championship, and you get to kind of see, the temperature and where everybody thinks they're going to be, and like I said, from what I saw, it was, it looks to be really exciting. I have like I said, I've yet to go to either the SIAC or MEAC, and I'm not even sure about the SWAC because obviously, look, we're on the countdown for baby watch here. So,
oh, congratulations!
Thank you. Not one, but two.
Oh my goodness! Bless your heart. Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah. So, that's looking like that's going to happen sometime in the next, hopefully, especially from my wife's perspective, hopefully. In the next 3 to 4 weeks, she's definitely ready to stop being pregnant now.
I'm sure, man. Congratulations. But I think, when you start taking a look at this year's media days, I think there's a lot of intrigue, and I don't care what conference you're talking about, whether you're talking about the SIAC, there's change at the top. The Benedict, or I should say the change at the top, if you will, with Benedict. The SWAC has new quarterbacks all over the place. MEAC, there'll be challengers hanging out, if you will, trying to knock Howard off the throne. So I think there's a lot of intrigue going into this year's media days. I'm interested and curious to start talking to some of the players and coaches in terms of getting their perspective, just to see how all these teams start gelling now. And I mean, you go to any campus right now and you see guys in shirts and shimmies. They're getting in their work, their summer work in, and things of that nature. But they are starting to kind of get a fix for some of the new guys coming in, and we have tons of new players coming into the conferences, whether you're talking about the SIAC, CIAA, MEAC, or the SWAC. So it presents a challenge. I think that's the buzzword for today. Presents a challenge.
Yeah, and like I said, there's so much uncertainty. Whether obviously you're looking at the SWAC, and obviously with the changes that happened with FAMU and everything, and some of the coaching changes, and several, we saw some big names moving and shaking in terms of the portal. And again, like I said, the SIC is going to be really interesting because will Benedict be able to stay up top, or will somebody be able to kind of step in that power vacuum that was created by Coach Berry, and I saw that he'll have his quarterback, Mr. Phoenix, back in Orangeburg with him as well. So you got to look at that, and whether what, say, a Quinn Gray is going to do in his second year at Albany State, and you can't get a Tuskegee and all of these teams that's going to be in the mix, and especially in looking at the SIAC with them eliminating the divisions now. That's really gonna, every week it was already important, but when you eliminate divisions, you don't have that to, and I don't want to, I hate to use this, but to kind of to fall back on. You lose a couple back to back, you're in trouble. So now every week, even more so in that conference, is going to be heightened, and said looking at the MEAC, obviously, Howard has got the target on their back, getting to the Celebration Bowl, but and we just touched on a little bit. South Carolina State has kind of got the buzz around them. They've got the new pretty toy coach coming in, and all of the buzz surrounding that, and seeing what he's going to be able to do with that program. But you've always got Central is still probably going to be in the mix. And I got to see Norfolk State up close and personal when they came to Nashville. I think that they're going to be a school that's going to have a say in who goes to Salem before it's all said and done. So this is already we haven't even they look. FAFSAs have not even been processed yet.
Right, exactly.
We're looking already at next season, and that's the thing about media day, it's kind of it starts to not only I'm gonna say, for on the players then, and obviously from a program perspective, but it kind of marks the, I guess you could say, the official start of the season, and that kind of creates the buzz even amongst your fans, because now it's putting, your football team back out in front of you and at the forefront of your mind. So it's going to be very interesting to see some of the things that come out of media day, and they make some of those preseason announcements in terms of superlatives and things of that nature.
And that always generates buzz. In terms of when you get that first and second team announcement, potential players of the year, offensive and defensive. But I think you use a term that I think is going to be very prevalent in whatever conference you're talking about, whether CIAA, MEAC, SWAC, or SIAC. Power vacuum. Is there a power vacuum with regards to the changes that, of course, that we talked about at Benedict, the changes, of course, that happened at FAMU, does some of the old guard sort of get back into the mix, whether you're talking about a Southern or Grambling in the SWAC, whether you're talking about a Miles or a Tuskegee in the SIC, and I think it just presents a lot of intrigue. So I think there's a lot of fans looking forward to media days, whether you're talking whatever conference you're a fan of. So we get to pull the curtain back. So I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, hopefully. Like I said, I don't know if I'll be in attendance in any this year, but I'm hoping to get a chance to attend some in the near future. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and head to our first commercial break. This is episode 517 with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, and we'll be back in 2 and 2.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Right, welcome back to episode 517 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I am Brandon King behind the big podium with Charles Bishop. And we just came off of, talking about Media Day and looking forward to next season. But there's still a few accolades and accolades given out for what happened last season. And Dr. Alvin Parker, head coach of the Virginia Union Panthers, was recently honored as the Black College Hall of Fame Coach of the Year at their ceremony last week in Atlanta. And when you look at what he did again this year, claiming yet another CIAA championship and making another playoff appearance. You know, we talked about obviously, you know, in terms of the other conferences, the SWAC, the MEAC, and the SIAC, the uncertainty and kind of looking up in who's going to be at the mountaintop. When you look at the CIAA, you know, everybody's they're looking up at Virginia Union right now because when you win, you know, back-to-back conference titles, and you make, you know, consecutive postseason appearances, right now you are where all the other teams want to be.
Yeah, no doubt. And worthy recipient. And when you take a look at those Virginia Union teams, another strong defensive presence. Another year where they had one of the top-ranked defenses in the CIAA. And as we all know, those of us who follow football, defense travels. Whether you're it doesn't matter, you know, in terms of what you're doing offensively. Defense can carry you when the offense isn't clicking. But I'll tell you what, Virginia Union had a stellar year, and you look for them to kind of build upon the year that they had last year, hopefully get out of that first round of the playoffs. But this is I'm looking forward to what Virginia Union brings into this upcoming season.
Yeah, because like I said, when you look at what they did this year, and you brought up the defense, if they can just even build on or maintain what they had, when you look at what they did defensively, they were the second ranked defense in the CIAA, and I think it was like I want to say it was 13.8 points per game. And when you look at their schedule, they did not allow a conference opponent to score more than 20 points at any point throughout the season. And like you said, the defense travels, whether it's on the road or at home. And if they can continue to build upon that, then there's a possibility, you know, that everybody's talking about UConn three-peating. You know, we could be looking at the Panthers hoisting another trophy. And let's not forget, they still got Jada Byers in the backfield.
Hey, you have Jada Byers will travel. I mean, that is one of the premier running backs in all of HBCU football. When you take a look at his production over the past, 3 years now, Jada Byers is definitely, you know, it's almost like you start looking for his stat line week in, week out. And you know he's going to be north of 100 yards in whatever game he plays in. But very interestingly, and I'm sure Alvin Park is happy at Virginia Union, but 40-13 during his tenure at Virginia Union, you know, I'm sure, you know, he's probably getting a couple phone calls every now and then.
Oh yeah, you know, anytime you have success like that, the other programs, as I like to say, they're sniffing around and they're kicking the tires to see, you know, what's up. He's probably getting some of those hey big head messages, you know, to try to see what's up, you know.
Exactly.
When you, like I said, you look at what he's done and transformed them into the powerhouse of the conference. I mean, if I were doing the preseason picks, that would probably be my number one. And I mean, it's pretty easy to understand why. And even when you dive into some of their stats and whatnot from last year, be it running the football. And we know that passing gets a lot of the attention.
Yeah.
But again, just like you said, the defense and the run game can travel as well, because it you know, whether it's raining or whatever, the quarterback doesn't have it or whatever the case may be. If you got a horse back there that you can give it to 25 times a game, then you're already setting yourself up to be successful, and they've got those two key components, and if you have those, then you're going to be in a good position, and
they are the quintessential bad weather football team, defense and run game. So you got to have that if you're going to play on the East Coast. So.
And so, you know, if you're in the CIAA, when you go play the Panthers, you better bring your lunch pail and your hard hat, because it's going to be 60 minutes of of physical hard football. So, congratulations, once again goes out to Dr. Alvin Parker. And you touched on what he's accomplished. So, great win for him.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what they're able to do once the season starts. And this is I don't want to spend a great deal of time on this. I'm just going to gloss over this briefly because I got some stats that I like to put out there. The whole Celebration Bowl thing being moved. I said I don't want to belabor the point too long. But I will say this: I actually don't think that it's a bad idea for that game to be moved. And for those of you who don't know, that the news emerged that they're moving the game up basically a week, and but the scheduling and all that stuff aside, and I know we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. When you look at from a couple different standpoints, I think that one, obviously, the boogeyman of dealing with the NFL and some of the other major games. Even if you look at it last year, some of the other college games that it performed well against. But when you look at it, they're going to have by and large, the stage to themselves, and they're going to be, for lack of a better term, the belle of the ball that day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will say this, that I think that moving it so they kind of have their chance to shine. I think when you're not having to split eyeballs, because when you look at, I'll just say the past 3 years, there's been kind of a slight downtick, even though the quality of football has seemingly went in the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a little bit of a decline in the ratings, and we saw that even last year. So I really just brought that up to say that if that game is going to be, by and large, some of the ones, or not some of the ones, but basically the only game in town, literally, for lack of a better term, whether your team is there or not, if you can't make it down to the Dome, tune in and help the game, put up some numbers. I know my team, the Mighty Tigers of Tennessee State, we got we'll trying to be in the playoffs, but if your team isn't, check it out and let's have some good numbers for the game, because whether whether your team is in it or not, I think even your rivals, we want to see HBCUs as a whole do well and on this national platform.
Well, and I think you said something very important. When you really start to take a look at it, the date that it was on, the stage is now crowded. There once was a time when you had the stage to yourself, but now we're in a day and age, of course, with the college football playoff coming online, and obviously it will present a challenge for the SWAC, especially only having a week, to prepare for the Celebration Bowl. But show me the alternative if you still want the eyeball. So I think that's the thing that you sort of have to take a look at. So no doubt a challenge, but it's kind of what we do with HBCUs. We figure out the challenge and work around the challenge.
We do. So look, I didn't want to stand on my soapbox on that one for too long, but I just want to. I want to start at this point. We're 6 months out to rally the troops to get behind it and support it, no matter when it is, because we're already with so many things behind the 8 ball. We've whether it be funding or what, we know these things. So if we've got a chance, let's show up and show out, but the good kind of showing out, not the kind that gets you in silver bracelets. So look, that concludes I'm stepping down off my soapbox about that, because there's been so much said on it, but I just wanted to kind of approach it from that angle, and kind of start to already plant that seed amongst the people already.
Understood, Brandon. Understood.
So with that being said, let's go ahead and go to our second break here. Again, this is episode 517 of inside the HBCU Sports Labs, and we'll see you all on the other side. Come up. Uh-oh. What just happened?
I'll tell you what. While we're waiting.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less. He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
When it
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back to episode 517 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Brandon King and Charles Bishop. And actually, to get into something that you raised earlier, and that is the Southwestern Athletic Conference has released their ESPN football schedule. And it's highlighted by several matchups, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it, Charles, as you look through some of the matchups that they've got listed. With any games that stood out to you or caught your attention that you'll be circling on your calendar as we move into football season?
So let me start here. I think the very first game, which is the MEAC Challenge, is going to be extremely intriguing because, quite honestly, people need to see if Norfolk State is going to make a move this year, and who better to go against than the reigning Black College National Champions with regards to Florida A&M. A lot of intrigue around the Rattlers in terms of all the changes that have happened. And, I think as fans, everybody is really into, we got this person out of the transfer portal. We got this person out of the transfer. He comes from this school. It means it's how they gel. It's how they gel. So that's an early statement game for both programs, for Norfolk State and for FAMU, because people want to see if there is going to be, quote unquote, the power vacuum that we were talking about. So you get a early look see in terms of how explosive, or maybe not as explosive, teams were as from last year. And then you look at the following week. Intrigue around the South Carolina State program with regards to Chennis Berry. You got Texas Southern Prairie View. It's always a grudge match. If you ask me one that I always circle, I'm a Jackson State guy, of course. So September 14th. Southern at Jackson State. Brandon, if you've never been, and it's going to be difficult for you to go this year, but put that on mark that on your calendar too as one of your games to go to in the future. Southern at Jackson State. As always, you're looking at 40 to 50,000 people, tremendous tailgating, and just two fan bases that just they can't get along. They're like first cousins that's always competing at something. That's Southern Jackson State. But I mean, I think where is Connell Maynard with regards to his program, Alabama A&M? You get another look-see, September 28th, when Alabama A&M, they go to Tallahassee to take on Florida A&M. So a lot of Florida A&M games on the ESPN docket this season.
Yes.
You will get a great opportunity to see if there actually is a power vacuum in the SWAC East, to see if there's a team that can match up to the reigning Black College National Champion.
Yeah, I agree. You touched on a couple of the games, and like I said, they get off to hit the ground running with that Norfolk and FAM matchup. Because like you said, with them, you've got what are they going to look like now in the post Willie Simmons era, and all of the turmoil and all the things that was going on with that program over the course of the offseason, and how they're going to look, who's going to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
How are they going to look on both sides of the ball? And then, with Norfolk State, with is Dawson Odoms and those guys, are they going to finally take that step forward in the MEAC? Because it seems like they will start to, and then they kind of have a couple seasons. So I'm again looking at that game, and you said it, it was almost like you were reading my mind, that South Carolina State and FAMU game, for really some of those same reasons, because for a large audience, that's going to be their first time getting to see what the Bulldogs are going to look like in the MC of the Chennis Berry era.
Yeah. And the other thing that I really take a look at, especially at the very beginning of the season, we're starving for football, right? And you get some just intriguing matchups. SWAC versus MEAC. Another one that I'm really paying close attention to is North Carolina Central and Alabama State. A lot of people are pointing towards Alabama State as being the next team up to ascend to that throne within the SWAC. It'll be interesting to see what they do against North Carolina Central, because the Eagles are fighting to get back into the mix of things. A little surprising, if you will, that they didn't get to the Celebration Bowl last year, but can they get themselves back into the mix this year? So it'll be very intriguing to watch.
Yeah, especially like I said, with both of them trying to figure out. We've talked about teams trying to figure out their quarterback positions, and you'll obviously with that Bama State and Central matchup, a lot of the attention will be on Andrew Body and how he's going to look in terms of integrating himself into that system.
Will he be the quarterback?
Oh, that's even that.
Yeah.
So because it's not necessarily a given that he's gonna be under center. So it's a lot of intrigue in some of those early matchups. I'm also looking at the very next, September the 7th, I'm looking at that Miles and Alabama State matchup. It's easy to say, SIAC, SWAC, they should run those guys over. But as we have seen with these matchups over the past couple of years, that's not always going to be the case. And
for me, another team that should have buzz is Prairie View A&M. You're talking about one of the winningest programs in the SWAC over the past 10 years. They've been knocking at the door. Can they actually knock the door down this upcoming season? A lot of excitement around the Prairie View program. So, and then just the fact that you have, we talk about there's going to be new quarterbacks all over the place, but there's coaching changes at Texas Southern. There's coaching changes at Grambling, coaching changes at Southern. So, I mean, of course, FAMU, but just the intrigue of having all this newness this upcoming year, going back to SWAC Media today, that pulling that curtain back is going to be even more important this year to really kind of get early look-see in terms of what a lot of teams have.
Yeah, for those who will be at SWAC Media Day and were there last year, you got to learn more new coaches than you do some of the old ones. Getting back to what you said, and one of the things, and you touched on it earlier, is Alabama A&M, and now with all the changes, Connor O'Mara is the longest tenured coach in the SWAC, and since they've come off that winning that spring championship, when you look at it, they've kind of just been middling, at best, and we talked about, you talked about Prairie View, will they be able to take that step forward and finally kick down that door? Will Alabama A&M potentially be able to kind of take a step forward, to get back in competition or be in the mix again? And if not, will that coaching seat start to warm up a little bit?
And I'll say this also, and I've joked with TC Taylor about this. 7-4 is his baseline. So he for Jackson State's fan base, it can't go under 7-4. So you kind of, pay attention to what Jackson State is going to have this upcoming season, because you can make a hard argument. They might have the best backfield in HBCU football. They're going to run the dickens out of the football. I want to say something else, but I'll keep it PG.
And I mean, so there's so many matchups. We could do a 2-hour show just looking at some of these various matchups. And there's so many that we haven't even got talking about. We didn't even talk about some of the new coaches. Alcorn has a new coach. Now, granted, the guy that's within the program, but obviously he's going to come in and while he may keep some things the same as Fred McNair had it, he's going to put his own spin on it, and how that program is going to take shape and develop. So that's going to be an interesting process to observe. So there's so much intrigue, and just as we look at this schedule, and speculation and things of that nature, and it's going to be fascinating to see just how some of these storylines, or lack of a better term, for some of these teams, and whether some of these moves in terms of coaching changes and transfers and things of that nature, how that's going to play itself out. We'll see what works and what doesn't as we move through this season. And like I said, if you're a FAMU fan, you're gonna be happy because you're gonna be on 11 times this year. So
11? I thought it was about 30. I gotta zing the rattlers when I can. So
I understand. Look, I'm not gonna stop you. I will never get in the way of a little SWAC on SWAC violence, because as a Tennessee State man, we just sit on the sidelines and we just watch.
Brandon, you're gonna have to work your magic and get your guys back into the realm, or the fold, if you will, of a little conservative trash talking.
Yeah, it's a little different. Look, it's a little different trying to talk trash with someone at Tennessee Tech than it is
or Southeast Missouri. Yeah, I feel you.
That's a totally. Your backfield is not as good as ours. It's a totally different flavor. But they,
no doubt.
look, they're teasing us. They done sprinkled a little bit of Howard and A&T into the schedule in 25 and 28. So look, people are already they're talking about those games that are a year and 2 years, 3 years away, more 4 years, I guess, 2028. Than the games that are on the schedule for this year. And I've said it so many times, man. They're starving for that.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, super thirsty. Yeah.
It's just when you look at it, the schedule comes out, because this was even the case when I was in school. You look at 3 games, well, 4 at that time. You would look at, of course, who are we playing in the John Merritt Classic. You would look at Southern Heritage. Of course, we knew that was Jackson State. And this, I'm going to date myself on this. We looked at Atlanta Classic. All right, we got that. And then you would homecoming, and then you would dot to see if another school was sprinkled in that you might want to see, because you really have to be a diehard fan. And I've said this for years, or someone who really loves football, to go watch us play Eastern Illinois or Western Kentucky. And I've been to those games, when we lived close by, and the energy, the attendance, it is different. It is completely different. And that's kind of why that's part of the reason, Coach George finally allowed his frustrations to come forth earlier this season.
And I'm sure we could do a whole nother 3 shows on Tennessee State. What should they do? But we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, they trust me. I could go on for another hour, but I'm not.
Understood.
We're 45. I guess we can. Okay. I tell you what. Let's kind of switch into kind of one of the, I don't want to say the last stories, but this was a story I found of particular interest to me, because anytime that I can write about when 2 of my favorite subjects come together, which is, of course, HBCU sports and sneakers, that's always a good thing for me. So the Mecca Society, and they're their alumni populated, funded NIL collective. And so what they have done is, they're obviously, as we have discussed, that when it comes to our schools, financial resources is always a need. So basically what they have done, they're taking donations, but for a $300 donation, you can get access or get one of their team-specific footwear. And for those of you who don't know, that Howard, back in, I think it was August of 2022, let me say, they signed entered into a 20-year partnership with Jordan Brand. So obviously they get team-specific shoes and whatnot. And so you can get a team-specific Tatum or a team-specific Luka for $300, or if you do a $500 donation, you can get both of them. So I thought this was a pretty creative way of taking advantage of not only the interest in sneakers and things of that nature, but also an interesting way of drumming up money for NIL. So what are your thoughts on that particular story there?
Well, I think, like you said, it's creative. It's a creative, unique way to sort of push that brand of sneaker. And like you said, for those of us who are big in the sneakers, sneakerheads, if you will, it presents a unique opportunity. And you always are looking for those unique opportunities, not only to do 2 things: get a sneaker that you really enjoy, and then support your school as well. So very creative branding, if you will. And I like the fact that they're going about this Jordan Brand partnership.
Yeah, and I'll go a little bit bit deeper into it because Tatum actually wore them. He wore the Howards in Game 2. So that there was a little bit of buzz about that. I have not seen Luka wear them. He's actually been wearing his first ones. From what I've seen, let's see, I've seen him wear the Luka 3s, but he's been wearing. He went back to his first model for at least a couple of the games. But I thought it was very, very interesting, and I've seen them really kind of push this out on social media, and hopefully, the people can get behind it because, like I said, it's an interesting way to kind of drum up to drum up some money and tap into that sneakerhead community. And here's a little bit of because anytime I get to talk a little bit of sneaker geekery, I will never turn that away. So Howard is not the first HBCU to be partnered with Jordan Brand. Now, this may come as a surprise to a lot of people. That would actually be North Carolina A&T. So, come on, children, let's go down let's go for a little bit of a history lesson. So, basically, Jordan Brand, as we know them, they were a spinoff from Nike. They're still under that subsidiary, but they're on standalone company. I want to say like 97, 98. So the first shoe that was released under that umbrella was the Air Jordan 13s, worn by Denzel Washington. He got game, for those of you who have seen that movie. And so they also got into sponsoring colleges. So at that time, they started with 4. You had the University of Cincinnati. You had St. John's back when they were still called the Redmen. I'm dating myself again on this. The University of California and North Carolina A&T. And them picking A&T this wasn't a random thing. This wasn't a situation like on Coming to America. They just spun the globe and put their hand somewhere. There is some connection between the Jordan family and North Carolina A&T. Those people may not be aware that Michael Jordan has an older brother named Larry, who he has said is actually the best basketball player in the family. The only problem is Larry was 5'8", but he actually attended and played at North Carolina A&T.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Back in the mid-'80s. And then he went on to play in he played professional ball. There's some footage of him actually on YouTube, I think, from, I want to say like 86, 87. They're in the Bulls practice facility. He's dunking. Larry had major bounce. He had game, but again, he was just 5'8". So, that was just interesting to kind of tie that in to the past and even to the future. So, an interesting story, I thought, and hopefully, some people will pick up a few pairs.
No, that's fascinating. Yeah.
And because like I said, I've talked with some people over, in the Howard Athletic Department, and I've seen some of the stuff that they show. It's nothing to compare to some of the stuff that they've got under wraps. I mean, they have not skimped in terms of providing them with high quality performance and with the aesthetics to go along with it. So kudos to Howard University, on doing that, and we'll see how that goes along. Like I said, I'm going to plug myself because I actually wrote about it. You can go to hbcusports.com and read my story about it.
There you go. I like what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Yeah, smart move. Yeah.
I'm not opposed to the occasional dose of shameless self-promotion.
Self-promotion. What's better than that?
Hey, if I don't do it, who else will?
There you go. All day.
So, that being said, let's go ahead and hop into our last break of the evening. Again, this is episode 517 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, and we will catch you all on the other side.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, episode 517. Myself, Brandon King, and Charles Bishop. So we've run through the gamut. We've talked a little bit of HBCU football. We talked some media day. We got into a little bit of hoops. We even worked in some kicks. We've had quite a full show here. So I've got to ask. I know we talked a little bit about the basketball and worked in a little bit of the finals. Have you caught any of the games?
Yes, in between Luka crying, yes, I have. I mean, the series could probably. I don't know if it could have turned out any different. I did not expect a potential Boston sweep. I thought it was literally going to go 7 because I did not know if Boston had enough offense to hang with Dallas, but their defense is just so smothering. Kyrie went off this last game, but he's having to work like all get out to get his shots and things of that nature. But I mean, what can you say about the Celtics? They're playing very physical. They're obviously in Luka's head. He can't stop crying even in the post-game press conference. So it's like, bruh. And if you're a Dallas fan, boy, it's like you get through this and then you got football season. So.
That's it. And it's funny. Like I was watching Game 3 and I was texting with a couple of my partners, and Dallas started. I mean, they were on fire, and I was working and I turned away. I think they was up by like 15. I looked back, it was 9. Then it was 6. But I'm like, Dallas, as well as they played, they went into halftime. I think it was 51-50 or 52.
Yeah.
I said they're in trouble because they played about as well as they could play. Boston did not, and you're only up. It's a 1-possession game still.
You can't pull away. Yeah, you can't pull away.
They absolutely blitzed them in the third quarter. Now they made the run. They did, but they couldn't get stops when they needed them.
Yeah,
and they were still getting good looks. But playing. The thing about playing from behind like that is it takes so much out of you.
Yeah.
You constantly have to try to come back, and then when you get there, so I mean and like I said, I mean Drew Holiday, the defense that he is playing, Derek White is playing. I mean Al Horford. I mean the margin of error that Dallas has is razor thin.
Yeah.
And like I said, I didn't see a sweep. I thought maybe 6. Because I thought coming into the finals, I thought that overall, out of the teams that were left, Dallas was playing overall the best basketball.
Yeah.
But I mean, they can't.
And for me, I knew Jaylen Brown was good, but he has absolutely elevated himself to superstar status. In terms of money buckets, they can't stop him. And then the fact that Luka is such a liability on defense, they're just putting him in switches all game. He doesn't have the foot speed, and yeah, it'll probably be done Friday. So I got the weekend to play a little golf.
Because this is looking like it's gonna be over, and then what's that? Well, no, we got the WNBA, so I guess I'll turn my focus to that a little more. But yeah, I don't think if they may get one, the home crowd may hype them up, but it's not going more than 5.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
And you look at just the Drew Holiday and that, I mean, that trade was just absolutely huge. Even without Porzingis, they're clearly the superior basketball club. So I just wanted to talk a little bit of hoops, continue our multifaceted coverage of today. So I think with that being said, that's going to conclude episode 517. So as always, thank you for listening to the HBCU Sports Lab. Definitely make sure to share our wonderful podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am not Dr. Cavil. I am Brandon King, coming from inside the HBCU Sports Lab, the College of HBCU Sports, with Charles Bishop today. Hopefully we brought you an enjoyable show. And as we like to end every show, I'll start it off, because last time my thing broke, I didn't get to do it. Course.
Lecture.
Dismissed.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know him like I know him.